the way, and all reviews pointing to this being the best Spider-Man movie of all time. Reviews aside, there are knowledge of the plot points floating around the internet, and this latest one is something that none of us saw coming. We're going to issue the normal spoiler warning and break it all down, what it means for Spider-Man Far From Home, and then eventually Spider-Man 3. But first, if you could grab the subscribe button, we're giving away 2 PlayStation 4 Pros, as well as a whole slew of other Marvel-related stuff, including tickets to go see Spider-Man Far From Home in IMAX. All you have to do, hit the subscribe button, then hit the notification bell, leave a like and a comment on this video, and if you want, stick around to the end of the video. We'll get into all the giveaway stuff again there. So first things first, and as is the case with all plot leaks here at the channel, they're a fun thing to do but not intended to ruin anybody's movie experience. So if you know this about yourself, if you're highly susceptible to expectations, or if this is going to ruin your Spider-Man Far From Home experience, please back out now. Only you know if you want to see the movie fresh to the ideas that the directors and writers have in store for you, which also begs the question as to why you clicked on this in the first place. But either way, you've been warned at this point. Also remember to take these spoilers and leaks of any kind with a grain of salt. They're non-confirmable, and even though the movie has been shown to the public at this point, doesn't mean this person actually saw it. Now, this plot leak follows the normal narrative that we've already built out of the trailers and all of the plot leaks that have come before it. I'm not going to read through it because you guys have heard it a million times. We already know the basic gist of what's going to take place in Spider-Man Far From Home, and for the first 2/3 to 3/4 of this plot leak, nothing is different. Then the plot leak goes on to say that Spider-Man will travel back to New York with Mysterio and S.H.I.E.L.D. after they think that they've defeated the Elementals for good, and when they get back, they'll encounter 2 new villains that have not been talked about up until now. Now, this happens to coincide with the rumor that there is a secret villain in Spider-Man Far From Home, and a lot of people have guessed Electro up until now, but this says during the encounter with these 2 villains, Spider-Man will soon decipher that Mysterio is not on his side. Even though Mysterio continues to fight by Peter Parker, he realizes that he's not actually his ally and may in fact be in cahoots with the 2 villains they're fighting. It continues to say that during the battle in the streets of New York, Peter is now battling all 3 of the villains, and they spill into the lobby of a building that is still heavily under construction. We realize as the audience that this is still the Avengers Tower. Even though the building doesn't have a new name, the equipment inside reads Oscorp. Spider-Sense goes off for Peter, but it's too late. As he turns around to confront Mysterio, he asks why. "I trusted you." Mysterio says, "I'm really sorry, Peter, but it had to be done." It's at that point that the 2 other villains activate some sort of equipment, and from a bird's eye view, we see an electronic blast. Then it pans back into the lobby, and the 3 villains and Spider-Man are nowhere to be found. The last shots of Peter Parker's face in a close-up, pulling back as he wakes up looking very confused. As he stands up and looks around, the camera comes from behind him, showing a wasteland that is completely desolate and barren. He looks up at the sky and scratches his head, and we can clearly see 3 distinct moons. It cuts to black and says Spider-Man will return. Now, there's a couple of things that are amazing about this, pun intended, and I'm not sure if this plot leak is real or not. It was really poorly written, that's why I didn't read a majority of it. Also, it didn't have a lot new to say. Like I said, the first 2/3 or 3/4 read exactly like if you had just watched all the trailers and then explained what was going to happen. But this end part is completely nuts, and if this is some sort of multiverse reversal, if that equipment that they activated actually transported Peter Parker to the multiverse, a different dimension, or even perhaps Mysterio's home Earth, if this is true, they sort of okey-doked him and stranded him sort of like a Star Trek back on his destroyed planet, that would not only be amazing, but it would fully make sense given the name of this Spider-Man movie, Far From Home. A lot of people might have thought that him being in Europe and or being without Tony would be the absence of his home, but I think it might be a little deeper than that. And if they're going to strand him in the multiverse, this is going to take Spider-Man to a whole new place. They make sure to call out, even during the trailers, that Spider-Man's been to space at this point. Marvel Studios really doubled down. They got the Spider-Man property and immediately put him in space, something that had never been done before. It would be awesome if they took it a step further and put him in the multiverse. Now, of course, this is mostly my theory working on the back of if this could be true, and there's no way of confirming this, but if it is, you would really have to think that Sony was hard at work trying to figure out how they're going to cross Tom Holland back into their multiverse, or Venomverse rather, that now has Morbius and Tom Hardy's Venom, and this would be the perfect way to do that, especially if Marvel's willing to play ball in order to finish their Sinister Six trilogy in Marvel Studios MCU, rather than having it cross back over to Sony. And I think Kevin Feige has loosened up quite a bit that they were able to accomplish what they did with the Infinity Saga in the first 3 phases. Just recently, he said in an interview that Spider-Man crossing over with Tom Hardy's Venom was likely but up to Sony. And that's something incredible and a departure from anything you'd think you'd ever hear Kevin Feige say. But guys, let me know what you think in the comments about the idea that Spider-Man Far From Home may land him in the multiverse, and what you think this may mean for Spider-Man 3 if they're not going to have him on Earth to finish the Sinister Six, or if he'll simply come back over in another movie. I've also got my thoughts about the fact that they would battle in New York, something that's been done so many times, and where would Doctor Strange be for all of this? Wouldn't he show up and help him? Anyway, either way, let me know what you think in the comments, and quickly let's get into the giveaway stuff before I let you go. Alright, we're giving away 2 PlayStation 4 Pros, one at the 500,000 subscriber mark, which we should hit in a couple of months. All you gotta do, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, leave a like and a comment on the video. We're also giving away a PlayStation 4 Pro over on my Spotify account, Allfires. It's free and easy to enter to win that one. All you have to do, follow the link down in the description and the comments below. Follow my account, Allfires, on Spotify. If you don't have an account, like I said, it's free to make one with an email. Stream my song and screenshot that, then send the screenshot to everythingalwaysYT@gmail.com. We're about halfway there, and far fewer people are going to do that than sub here at the channel. So if you're trying to greatly boost your odds of winning a PlayStation, that's an easy way to do it. Also, if you want to win any of the prizes here at the channel, the PlayStation, the tickets to go see Spider-Man Far From Home in IMAX, or any of the other prizes we announce, all the same rules apply. Hit the sub button, then hit the notification bell, leave a like and a comment.